Hello. It's actually like finally spring and I'm at school. And also I say it's spring, like this wasn't the weather yesterday. But you know what? None of that's really important right now because today we're going to be speaking about motivation. And this is really not gonna be like a motivational talk unless you find it to be motivational, then I guess it is. But I'm just gonna kind of talk through, you know, my feelings towards motivation and like kind of what I do when I'm feeling unmotivated, because this is literally my week off between winter and spring and I don't want to do anything. But if you're also a pre-med and if you're also about to enter your application cycle, you know that that's really not an option, doing nothing. It's fine. Everything's fine. Basically, I'm finding it very hard to motivate because, you know, my friends are making their summer plans and getting ready to do all this fun stuff. And I'm at school organizing my locker. Like, I'm not joking. Look at this. Like, I mean, it is very organized and that's satisfying. So, I mean, at least I have that going for me. But motivation's kind of one of those weird things because, like, you know, when you're feeling unmotivated, it's like you feel really terrible about how unmotivated you feel. But when you're feeling motivated, you're not like, oh wow, I'm so motivated, this is amazing. So it's like when you're unmotivated, you really feel it, like both psychologically and even like physiologically, you know, like you feel lazy, you don't want to get off the couch, like you really feel it. And that's what I'm feeling right now. And it's not good at all, especially because, like I said, this is the time when my application cycle for med is opening and I'm preparing to write the MCAT and I have classes all summer. And I know we've talked about it in a previous vlog, how like everything's kind of building up to this application. And now more so than ever, I feel like, because I'm really like cognizant, I guess, now about just how difficult this application is and just how essentially amazing of a student you need to be. And hopefully that doesn't demotivate you because you can do this. As for like dealing with your lack of motivation, kind of, I guess, you know, some people are really good at like looking internally and kind of figuring out where that discomfort is. And I feel like I've recently become better at that, and it's partly just due to mindfulness and, you know, reflecting on my day and journaling and all that kind of stuff kind of just brings me closer to understanding what's going on within me. So like I kind of know where my stressors are, and like I said, one of the big stressors right now is med school applications. And it's kind of ironic, right? Because like I have a lack of motivation for the application because the application is stressing me out. But I feel like that's very common. You know, like when you're about to study for a big exam, for example, it's like you know that you want to do well on this exam, but then you feel a lack of motivation to study. And it kind of just like perpetuates and goes in a loop, right? And you feel like demotivated because you're like, oh my God, this is such a big thing that I need to undertake. But one of the strategies to kind of help is what we call the just do it technique, which is why I'm at school today. There's really nothing else for me to do at school. You know what I mean? Like I can't really sit and just binge Netflix. I mean, I guess I can, but like I'm kind of in that mindset now where I'm like, okay, I'm at school, I'm going to be productive, so let's be productive. And for me, it's like really helpful to hear other people's stories about things. That's why I'm like kind of talking about my lack of motivation. And it's not just particularly towards like the med school application. Like the day this video goes up, I'm starting my spring semester, which means I'm taking biochemistry, physiology, I'm starting to study for the MCAT about 18 hours a week, and I'm starting a research project that I just got a research grant for. So there's just a lot going on for me right now. But like I kind of knew that going into this time of year, that it was going to be like a little bit of a break and then get it going again, essentially. And now I'm trying to get it going again, and I'm like, I just want to lay in bed all day. So yeah, that's the first technique, I guess, to kind of help you deal with your lack of motivation, is just start. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just sit down and start doing whatever you have to do. Even if you only do it for like a couple of minutes, after that couple of minutes, you're going to be like in the mindset kind of that you're already doing it. And that's honestly the most difficult part, is finding that motivation to start. So just like, don't allow yourself to do anything else, just start. Because that's one of the things we can control, right, is what we do and what we spend our time on. And that's kind of one of the things that I learned while I was researching how to be more motivated, is it needs to come internally. Like, you can have external motivation. Like, there was this study I was reading about where they were essentially got people to do a task, and then they told some of the participants that they did really good on the task because they're just naturally gifted and naturally really smart. And then they told the other half that they did really good because they're just hardworking. And you know, natural gift like being smart, which like, I don't even know if I necessarily believe in that, but that was just the study, because I feel like if you work hard, you can become smart. Anyways, we won't get into all that. But what they found then is when they gave these participants tasks afterwards, that the people that they told that were hardworking, first of all, spent more time actually trying to solve the task and solve more difficult tasks. So it's really, it needs to come from within you. Like, you need to find out what your motivation is. Like, for me, my motivation is to get into medical school. Specifically, I really want to get into UBC because I just love Vancouver and I just love BC. So that's kind of like an extra motivation, because like the requirements are pretty high for that school. So I need to work even harder to kind of be accepted into that school. So that's a big part of where my motivation is coming right now, is, you know, I mean, first and foremost, I want to get into medical school. But then I also want to get into the school that I want to get into. So it's like, okay, you got to work even harder. And I've found that, you know, even just journaling that and like kind of writing that down and reminding myself of where I'm trying to get to has been really helpful, and has, you know, kind of made this feeling of lack of motivation go away. But I do have other strategies that I've been using. So if that one is not for you, you know, the just do it, which I mean, I do recommend just starting it, because I think that that's like a really good way to get something started. But then if you're finding like maybe you're feeling a bit of a lack of motivation once you actually start, well, we have some other techniques for that too. I figured we'd get some fresh air while we talk about our next technique. And next one is about scheduling. And I know scheduling is not everybody's favorite thing. I'm a very scheduled person. I have like a weekly schedule, I have a monthly schedule, and I have a daily schedule. And they kind of just all come together to define my life. And I'm very strict with myself for like sticking to those schedules. But last semester I found that it was becoming easier to kind of drift away from those schedules, to like put it off and be like, oh, it's really windy, I'll yell so you can hear me. I found it was really easy to just, you know, put off that one study session for an hour and be like, okay, well, I'll just do it on Saturday. And then Saturday comes and I didn't feel like doing it. What a surprise. So then that's when I also did some research. And I mean, you can do this too. For me, like, learning different techniques is really helpful in overcoming like my problems. So when it came to motivation and scheduling, researching how other people stay scheduled, I found was really useful, and implementing those techniques like kind of reinvented the way I do stuff. And one of the big things I found was it's kind of like essentially like a token economy, but basically you just grade yourself on how you're doing. So now every time I have like something important I want to do that I know I might not really want to do, like if it's a study session or maybe going to work out, I have a little checkbox next to it. And then at the end of the day, I give myself a percentage of checkboxes that I've met. So if I don't end up doing that study session, I obviously don't get a check. If I don't do the workout, I don't get a check. And then you can kind of set a baseline for yourself before you do anything. So like, I found out that I was, you know, achieving my schedule about 80% of the time. And I'm like, okay, that's good. But if I'm only giving 80%, that's not gonna get me into medical school. So then I set a threshold for myself. I'm like, okay, if I get above 90, then I will reward myself with this. And if I stay below, then like I have to like take this out of my weekly schedule. So for me, for example, watching Formula 1 is kind of something I really enjoy watching. So if I'm above a 90% for the week, I'm allowed to watch the Formula 1 race. If I'm not, I don't get to watch it, and I'm just sad because I don't get to watch what I enjoy watching. So I mean, it's still really on you to, you know, keep track of yourself and make sure that you're actually following these rules that you've set for yourself. And I mean, that applies to like everything in life, not just schoolwork or working out. Like, if there's something you want to do that you know you don't really actually want to do, you can use that kind of a technique. And now this is kind of our last tip already. I know, and I'll have some resources linked down below if you want to like read more about motivation, or if you feel like I didn't go into enough depth on something. You know, I mean, this is just like a kind of quick vlog video, so definitely check out those resources if you're struggling with motivation right now. But the last one is very studying specific, and that is find a study spot you like. You know, my campus, MacEwan, is not the biggest campus. There's a lot of little like nooks and crannies and little tables that like have nice windows, let's say, or ones that have plugins, ones that don't, and like kind of setting your standards for a good study table. As stupid as it sounds, this is what my life has come to. I have standards. I want to be in relatively close proximity to a bathroom. I want to have plugins. It's really useful if there's like a water fountain or something nearby. And did I mention it needs to be by a window? If it's not by a window, I'm not about it. We need to be by a window. And recently, well, I can't say that I found it because someone showed it to me, but I found this spot, so let me show you. Here it is. Welcome. This is my, you know, I would say summer study spot, but this is my summer house where I will be living. So let me take you through the little tour, because like I said, you know, if you find a good study spot, it kind of motivates you, you know, you feel good. If you're in a space if you're in a space where you're vibing, then the brain waves, I was trying to make something rhyme, but like, I'm not a rapper, so. First thing. Wait, where is it? Plugins. 4 of them. Can charge everything and then a little bit more. Close proximity to a bathroom. There's people out there that probably won't want to be on video, but there's a bathroom out there like 25 steps away if you're taking long strides. Windows? Buddy, do we have windows? Like, look at this. How much natural light you want today? All of it? Okay, I'll give you all of it. But this is what really sold me on this spot over every other spot at MacEwan. The window opens. I'm way too excited about this. Like, I was feeling unmotivated, and then I got to school today to organize my locker and to like look over the med school application, and then I remembered this spot, and I was like, I'm feeling good now. I'm vibing, I'm thriving, definitely surviving. And we're gonna read a motivational quote to end off today's video, because I did not feel like memorizing it. I also didn't write down who said the quote, but the quote will be on the screen, so you will be able to see that. The quote is, "Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going." I actually think I found that on Visco when I was just scrolling through, and I was planning on making this video today, and I was like, that fits really well. And I think it does, because, you know, we've been talking about motivation a lot, and yeah, sometimes you feel like a lack of motivation, which I want to reiterate is natural. It's not natural to always feel 100% motivated. Like, if you do feel like that, that is fantastic, and like, please teach me your ways. But motivation is kind of like everything else, like our mood, everything, right? It kind of goes up and down. So don't be hard on yourself if you're feeling unmotivated. Like I said earlier, the fact that you're actually like seeking kind of a video like this out to try and help you through that motivation, or even to just hear about my lack of motivation and how I kind of deal with it, is honestly like the first step, right? And just remember that it's, I mean, you can blame other stuff, like, you know, when you get a bad grade, you can like blame it on the prof, or you can blame it on the test wasn't fair. But you also need to kind of focus on what you can control. And that's kind of what I'm really, that's like my motto, I guess, for this semester is like, what can I do, especially for my application, to kind of set me apart from the other applicants. And I am doing a lot of stuff towards that, and I'm gonna make a video on that in the future because I recently found out a lot of new fun facts about med school applications. Super fun. But yeah, I know that for me, like, what I can do is I can make my schedule, I can kind of implement that like percentage scale to get rewards if I do well enough on my schedule for the week. I obviously have control over what I schedule myself to do. So if I need to study more that week, I need to, you know, realize that and study more that week. And I think that honestly, just even realizing that you're unmotivated is a huge thing, like being able to feel that within yourself, because then you can kind of make the change that you need, or do something extra, or instead of binge watching Netflix, maybe try and pick up a book, something that like stimulates your brain to kind of get you jump started, right? So I like how I said we're gonna end with a quote, and then I decided to speak for another 5 minutes, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. But I'm gonna just get started on my med school application now because I'm actually feeling quite motivated. This spot has very much helped me do that. So I will catch you in the next one. Peace.